Is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC 318, Holloway versus Poirier 3. Big pay-per-view card this weekend. Dustin Poirier's retirement fight. We're gonna break down the entire card. No face cam for this one, fellas. I think my little webcam is just honestly broken. This thing doesn't focus at all now, and I'm not Linus Tech Tips. I don't know how to fix this thing, so we're going without it for this one, fellas. But yeah, let's just jump right in. If you're new, subscribe. I appreciate it a ton. Sorry about no video last week, but honestly, I just didn't care about that card. So let's jump right into it, fellas. We got a good card this weekend. Decent card. I wouldn't say good, but it's a pay-per-view. It's all right. Kicking us off at flyweight, Carly Judis is taking on Nicole Cagliari. It's unranked women's flyweight, fellas. It's a hard fight to honestly get a read on. I do think the line's a bit wide here. I don't think Carly Judis should be closing in on a minus 300. I don't think she's all that good. I think she probably wins this fight, though. She's okay. And Nicole Cagliari's okay, too. Like, I just feel like this line's a little bit off. I feel like this is going to be a really competitive fight that probably ends in a close decision, as unranked women's flyweights tend to do. But one thing I would like to highlight is Carly Judis does have a very, very large reach advantage, 6 inches of reach, which I think could be a factor here. Her striking is pretty all right. So is Cagliari's. Carly Judis is okay. She should probably win this fight. I mean, a split decision with Gabriela Fernandez. Gabriela Fernandez is good, dude. Like, she's a good fighter, so I'm going to go with Carly Judis here. I think she should be lying like a minus 160, not like a minus 260. I think that's a bit wide. I do think she's the better overall mixed martial artist and should probably be able to win this fight, or at least get 2 rounds here in what I think will probably be a pretty close decision, because Nicole Cagliari is not too bad. She's pretty tough. She's all right, but I don't trust her. Moving up to middleweight, Bruno Ferreira is taking on Jackson McVey. Tough one for Mr. Jackson McVey. This ain't Cedric Dumas anymore, little bro. You're getting knocked the fuck out. I'm going with Bruno Ferreira. I think this is a hard debut matchup for Jackson McVey. I think Cedric Dumas was much more approachable. This one, not so much. Bruno Ferreira is kind of a monster. He's got insane punching power. He's got decent cardio, honestly, for a guy who throws as hard as he does. He's got a good judo background. He's got a submission game. Bruno Ferreira is pretty decent, man. He's a decent unranked middleweight, so I just think he's going to beat the shit out of Jackson McVey, who's all right. Like, he's not bad. It's just his striking kind of leaves some defensive deficiencies, is what I would say, at times. He's got a nice body kick to him. His hands sometimes aren't the best. His defense is a little bit sketchy. And if your defense into the striking is a little bit sketchy, I worry for you, because Bruno Ferreira might put one on that chin and kill you instantly. I also don't think Jackson McVey has too much of an advantage in the grappling, because Bruno Ferreira is a real short, stocky guy. He's got a decent takedown. He's real strong and physical, and he's got some submissions as well. So I'm going to go with Bruno Ferreira here, man. I think he's pretty fucking good, dude. Hopefully after this fight, maybe you get him a fight kind of in the rankings. Because, I mean, losing to Aus, not the worst look in the world. Aus is pretty good. KOing Stoltzfus is okay. Beating Petrosian by armbar is pretty impressive. Like, I think Bruno Ferreira here, I just think he's much better than Jackson McVey at this point in his career. He should be able to get the knockout. Could also get a submission, too. Bruno Ferreira is pretty good, man. Moving up to heavyweight, Ryan Spann taking on Lucas Berski. We got ass versus ass in the heavyweight division, fellas. Absolute booty buns. Ryan Spann sucks. Lucas Berski sucks. Who's going to suck more? Probably Lucas Berski, man. I'm still a Ryan Spann. Like he could be good if he really wanted to. Like, he could be good. You know what I mean? Like, you see moments of athleticism from the guy, you're like, wow, this guy could really be something. But he's just, like, I was optimistic when he moved up to heavyweight, because I'm like, oh, he might dial it in. He might be good here against these kind of fat, unathletic heavyweights. And then Ryan Spann came out and looked like a fat, unathletic heavyweight. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? What are we doing here? Just because you're moving to heavyweight doesn't mean you get to eat fucking cannoli 24/7, you moron. Like, he looked awful against Waldo Cortez Costa. I'm hoping this time, with, in my opinion, his UFC career on the line. Maybe we could dial it the fuck in a little bit, Ryan. Lucas Berski's been KO'd brutally twice in his last 2 fights. He does have a win over Walter Walker, which is impressive, truthfully. But Ryan Spann is a more athletic fighter. He's the bigger guy. I think he carries more punching power. He should win this fight. If he loses this fight, cut him. He should not be in the UFC if he loses this fight. Seriously. Like, I've been of the mindset that Lucas Berski at points can be okay. But Ryan Spann should beat him. You know what I mean? He should. And if he doesn't, cut him. Especially as a minus 230. I'm going to go with Ryan Spann. I also think he has a more complete grappling game as well than a Lucas Berski. He can win by knockout. He can win by submission. I'm going to predict Ryan Spann wins this fight inside the distance. Please God, Ryan, for your fucking career, beat this guy. Moving up to light heavyweight, Jimmy Croo taking on Marcin Prachniau. Poor Jimmy Croo, dude. 2 draws in the last 5. I truthfully do think he should have beaten Rodolfo Bellato. I think giving Rodolfo Bellato, I think off the top of my head, I think it was round 3, I think. Was it round 3 or round 2? Jimmy Croo 10-8'd Bellato in round 1, and he won one of the other 2 rounds of that fight. I'm so convinced. I don't think Bellato got the last 2 rounds of that fight personally. But that's not even important. Marcin Prachniau, karate striker, grappling deficit, basically. That's why the lines are this way. Marcin Prachniau got great kicks, great timing on the kicks, decent hands as well, pretty fast for a guy his age. I believe he's like 37. Yeah, 37. Just turned 37. But he's got a pretty bad takedown defense. And Jimmy Croo, man, he's nasty. He's a good grappler. He is a genuine talent at light heavyweight with the grappling. He's got great submissions and he's got good takedowns. Cardio at times can be spotty for Croo. He's got good power in his hands. The only real deficit that Jimmy Croo has, in my opinion, is his striking's a bit meh. Like, his striking defense isn't very good. And sometimes he can kind of just be standing there. But early on, he's a dangerous fighter. And I think if he gets Marcin Prachniau down to the mat early, which I think he can do if he goes out there with the game plan of, I want to win this fight, he should take the path of least resistance and just try and close the distance with some strikes, push Prachniau up against the cage and get the takedown. If he does do that, I see no reason why he can't finish Marcin Prachniau via ground and pounder submission. Especially because Prachniau's not getting any younger. Like, he got subbed by Modestas Bukauskas. Jimmy Croo can fucking sub him. You know what I'm saying? I'm going with Jimmy Croo here. Prachniau, like, nobody's picking Prachniau, but he does have a fair shake. You know, if it stays on the feet, he'll probably beat Jimmy Croo if he doesn't get hit by a hammer in the boxing range. So I will give him that. He's got a decent shot. I would say maybe like minus 175 for Croo is probably a better line than minus 250 in my opinion. But I am going to go with Jimmy Croo here. I also like Jimmy Croo a lot. I think he should win this fight. He's got a clear path to victory. Get the grappling going, get the submissions going, or the ground and pound. But I think submission is probably the way to go against Marcin Prachniau. And I think he can do that probably about 7 out of 10 times. So I'm going with Jimmy Croo, probably by submission. Moving up to a welterweight, Adam Fugit is taking on Islam Dulattov. Now, when I saw this matchup, I knew Islam Dulattov was going to be a big favorite. I was not expecting minus 625. Minus 625 is a bit much. I know Adam Fugit's not the greatest fighter ever, but he's got some UFC experience against some okay guys. Like, Josh Quillen's pretty ass, but he beat him. Mike Mallett's pretty fucking good. Kinoshida's all right. Michael Morales is really good. And then we're in his LFA career, so I don't really look into this too much. But he's fought 2 decent opponents in the UFC, man. And Islam Dulattov's making his debut. And, UFC debuts, especially for Contender Series guys, tend to go not so good. So basically what I'm saying here is, I think Islam Dulattov is the side to pick. I think he's good. He's got good striking. He's got nasty finishes. Almost every, or if not every fight he's been in, he has finished. And he can mix it up too. He's a dangerous guy. And I think he beats Adam Fugit. I just think this line's a bit much. I was thinking like minus 300 or something would be a little bit more reasonable. Minus 3 something. It's just going to be hard to bet Dulattov from a betting perspective. Maybe you bet on him inside the distance, but that's still probably going to be like minus 2. at this line. But that I don't give betting advice. I don't give betting advice. So why am I talking about this? Islam Dulattov should win. Younger guy, taking less damage in his career, a real finisher. The level of competition obviously isn't quite as high, but a lot of the guys who are low level that he's fighting, he's beating the dog shit out of. You know, he got that absolutely brutal elbow KO of the Contender Series, one of the nastiest I've ever seen. The guy's he's pretty fucking good, dude. And I don't think Adam Fugit, even in the debut, is going to be the guy who really checks this kid. Uh, I just think you need to be a little bit better than Adam Fugit in order to beat this guy. Fugit's okay. Decent kickboxer. I think he leaves deficiencies in the grappling, which Dulattov could maybe attack. And in the striking, I think Dulattov's the more dangerous striker. I definitely think he's a lot faster. I think the finishing potential is more there for Dulattov. So I'm going to go with Islam Dulattov here. I think he can win this fight either which way, whether it be by submission or TKO here. I think Adam Fugit is finishable, and I think Dulattov is a good finisher. So I think more times out of 10, Islam Dulattov does get the win by finish over Adam Fugit. Although I think the line's a bit crazy. Moving up to 185, Ateba, I can never say his first name, Gontier, taking on Robert Valentin. Dude, this makes me sad because I like Robert Valentin, man. I think he's cool. I love his striking style, but we really haven't got to see it. He's fought two really dominant grapplers. I guess you can call Torres Feni a dominant grappler. Fuck Torres Feni. Robert Valentin's cool though. He's got some submissions. He's got pretty creative striking. He's pretty dangerous. But Ateba, fuck, I can't say this guy's name. Gontier is a legit physical freak specimen monster. This guy is so fast, so powerful, and he's got such composure for such a guy who's so young in his career and young in general. I mean, the guy looks like he's 37 years old, but I'm fucking older than this guy, dude. Jesus Christ. What I don't know what they're feeding dudes out there in Cameroon, but every single one of them looks like a fucking steroid monster that makes it to the UFC, I swear to God. 23? 23! That's fucking crazy. But he's a freak, dude. He's got great speed, he's got great composure, and he's really able to find shots on the feet. And I think that's going to be a problem for Robert Valentin, who's just not quite the level of athletic specimen. Robert Valentin's dangerous. He's got nasty elbows. He's real creative with knees, things like that. But I just think Gontier is just going to be, I think he's just going to be a little too much. I'd like to see Robert Valentin win just because I like him. I think he's cool. But I don't think he's going to. I think Gontier is going to knock him out probably in like rounds 1 or 2. I think he's just too sharp, man. Valentin's a little bit crazy, and that craziness tends to leave openings. And if you're leaving openings for this guy, I think he's going to find a straight shot right on your chin if you overcommit to something. And Robert Valentin does tend to overcommit at times, and I think it's going to get him hurt bad. I think he's probably going to get him finished by Ateba Gontier in like the first 2 rounds. That's my prediction, fellas. Moving up to 170, Francisco Prado is taking on Nikolai Veritinov. Tricky one because Francisco Prado has let me down time and time again. I keep thinking he's pretty good, but he keeps letting me down. He is only 23. Look at his face and look at Gontier's face, and you're telling me these guys are the same age? Crazy. You're out of your fucking mind. I want to pick Francisco Prado though because Veritinov's not getting any younger. He's 35. He didn't look the greatest against Austin Vanderford. Fuck, dude, I can't. God, I'm so bad at saying names, dude. Didn't look great there. Lost to Danny Barlow in a split decision, and Danny Barlow's kind of... He's all right. You know... I just feel like Prado can land the shot on the chin. I also feel like if anybody's making improvements to their game, it's going to be the 23-year-old guy, not the almost 36-year-old guy. You know what I'm saying? Prado is going to be undersized here because he's fighting at welterweight. He's kind of a littler guy. Even at lightweight, you know, he's fighting guys like fucking Zell Huber, who's really tall and rangy at lightweight. But I think he carries a lot more power. A lot of people are picking Prado decision. I could see Prado honestly landing a good shot on the feet and knocking out Veritinov here. It's definitely possible. It's a tricky one. I think I'm going to lean Francisco Prado here. I'm going to trust in him one more time. Because, Jake Matthews is pretty fucking good, and Zell Huber's pretty fucking good. I think they're both better fighters than Veritinov at this point in his career, for sure. Um, Beat Azaitar, who's a bum. Lost to Jamie Malarkey, which isn't the greatest look, but that's a long time ago. He was like fucking 20. I'm going to go with Francisco Prado here. I think he's got more power on the feet. I think he can keep it standing. I think he can land the bigger shots. And over 3 rounds, I think he can land more damage against the aging fighter here. I'm going to go with Francisco Prado. I think this is going to be a close fight. I'm leaning like 29-28 decision here for Francisco Prado. We'll see, though. Why is this on the prelims? Moving up to 185, Marvin Vtori taking on Brendan Allen. I think I'm going to go with Brendan Allen here, dude. I would like to pick Marvin Vtori. I would like Marvin Vtori to win. I think he deserves it. He's been going through some stuff. If you know, you know. I hope he does win. Also, because I think Brendan Allen's a fucking goofball, and I do not like him at all. So I would like to see him lose. But Marvin Vtori, man, he's just a guy who really hasn't made improvements to his game in a very, very long time. Like with Marvin Vtori, what you see 3 years ago is what you're going to get right now. He's a fucking blockhead who throws the same combination over and over again with very mediocre grappling. That's what Marvin Vtori is. He's a tough son of a bitch, and he can push a pace for 5 rounds. But Brendan Allen's pretty well-rounded. I think I've seen him actually make improvements to his game over the years. I think he has gotten better, and that's just something I can't say for Vtori. He's coming off of 2 losses. He had a very close fight with Nassourdine Imavov, competed real well with him, and Imavov's a fucking beast. And then he had a competitive fight with Anthony Hernandez, who's also a fucking beast. I think both of these guys beat Marvin Vtori pretty clearly. And, he beat Chris Curtis, granted, close fight. Chris Curtis is underrated, I feel like. Beat Paul Craig easy, beat Bruno Silva easy. And when we look at Marvin Vtori, it's just... I don't know. I just wasn't impressed by the Dolize performance. I think he looked pretty shit. I think Brendan Allen can mix it up on the feet a little bit better. I think he can get the grappling going as well and just win minutes here. And a 3-rounder, I think I do favor Brendan Allen a little bit. So I am going to be picking Brendan Allen to win. I don't think he finishes Marvin Vtori, but I do think he wins a pretty tightly contested decision, probably 29-28. Maybe loses around, could be 30-27. But I'm going to trust Brendan Allen here. I don't know how in it Marvin Vtori is going to be, and I can't trust him to improve his game plan. If he does, I'd be happy for him, but I don't see it happening. Moving up to 135, bantamweight, Kyler Phillips taking on Vinicius Olivera. This is a pretty sick fight, honestly, and I do want to mention something here, all right? From a betting perspective, this line is a little bit wacky. And the reason I say that is, I think this is textbook betting line overcorrection. I think Kyler Phillips is being wildly undervalued at this line. Like, you got to put this in the context. Kyler Phillips was like minus 500 against Rob Font. And now he's plus 160 against Vinicius Olivera. I don't know, dude. The line's a little bit wacky. I do think Olivera probably should be the favorite here, but I think this fight should be very close to evens, honestly. Both of these guys are pretty good, pretty creative strikers. I think Kyler Phillips, when he's on, is a bit more creative. I think he's a bit faster. I think his shot placement's a bit better than Vinicius Olivera. However, I think the power goes to Olivera easily. I think the will to win a fight goes to Olivera easily. This performance against Rob Font, watching Kyler Phillips death gas after 1 round of grappling, not a good look. Not a good look. I think Phillips is a better athlete. I think, honestly, at his peak, he's a better fighter than Olivera, but I've seen him gas. I've seen him quit. I've seen him look kind of ass. Whereas, Vinicius Olivera is a dog. He's going to go out there. He's going to fight hard for 3 rounds. That's just what he's going to do. So it's kind of like, I'm kind of torn here because I do think Kyler Phillips is being a little bit undervalued here. But I also, is he the guy who's really gonna fucking push it? You know what I mean? Who's really gonna get after it when it gets tough in like rounds 2 and 3? I'm not so sure he is. Whereas Olivera, on the other hand, yeah, he might get outstruck in round 1. He might kind of get styled on a little bit in round 1. Might not be able to make the read or find the shot, but as it gets a little bit grimier, as it gets a little bit grittier in rounds 2 and 3, guys start to slow down a little bit. I could see him pushing it a little harder. You know what I'm saying? You guys know what I'm saying. You guys know ball. So I'm a little bit torn. It's a tricky one, right? And when we look at the recent wins, Pedro Munoz, okay win. Howie Barcelos, okay win. Marcelo Rojo, I don't really care. Losing to Julian Paiva, it's okay. It's not the greatest look ever. But Lockdog, he beat Said Nurmagomedov, good win. Beat Ricky Simone, good win. You know what I mean? Beat Bernardo Sopai, granted on short notice, crazy knockout. That's his run in the UFC. Had a good win on the Contender Series as well. Truthfully, I think Olivera might have better wins than Kyler Phillips. I think I'm going to go with Vinicius Olivera here. I think this is a really close fight, though, and Kyler Phillips can win this fight. Sometimes he just looks switched on. And if he's switched on, like I said, I do think he's a better fighter than Olivera if he's locked all the way the fuck in. But if he starts to slow down, if he starts to give that inch, Olivera's going to take a mile and he's going to walk him down later on in this fight. And I do think he's got a power advantage. Granted, I think Kyler Phillips has a durability advantage. Vinicius Olivera has been KO'd multiple times. So this is a tricky one. I think this fight's going to deliver, though. I think this fight's going to be fucking sick. I'm going to slightly lean Vinicius Olivera here. I think he's probably going to win this fight by decision. I think this fight's going to go all 3 rounds. I think it's going to be a hard fight. But I'm going to go with Vinicius Olivera. Let's see what the people are thinking. Oh my god, dude. Nobody's picking Kyler Phillips. See, this is the shit I'm talking about. This is crazy. 6%? He's a plus 155. People are just really low on him after this performance. But Rob Font Fraud checks a lot of motherfuckers, dude. He just beat Gene Matsumoto. As I picked him to do, by the way. This is undervaluing. I might, like I say, guys, I don't give betting advice. I might take a shot if this line gets more wide. If more people keep betting Olivera to a bigger and bigger line, I might take a shot, bro. That's all I'm saying. Because I think there's value on Phillips, for sure. I think this is textbook line overcorrection. But I am going to go with Olivera. I do think he should be like a slight favorite, like a minus 120, honestly. Close to evens, basically. Opening up the main card. I don't know why this is doing that, but it is. Michael Johnson taking on Daniel Zellhuber. Guys, I'm going with Daniel Zellhuber. I just think, he's 26, young guy, much bigger guy. Michael Johnson's due for a loss, man. He's won 2 in a row. That's too many for Michael Johnson. He's got to lose one. Now he's got to lose 2 in a row, knowing Michael Johnson. He's got to keep it even. He's got to keep it 50-50 at all times. But in all seriousness, Michael Johnson's going to be the much smaller guy here. I think he's the better pure boxer, but he's just going to have a hard time closing that gap because Daniel Zellhuber is really good at staying long behind his jab. And it's not like Michael Johnson's getting any younger. At this point, that athleticism, speed, certain things like that are going to start to leave him behind at this age, man. He's looked all right against, Darius Flowers, who's a schmuck, and Atman Azaitar, great knockout, but he's really not all that great. Whereas Zellhuber's been fighting a decent level of comp. Ribovic is really good. Prado's good. Christos Giagos is okay, but he got him out of there. Lando Venata's okay. Trey Ogden's good too. You know what I mean? Like he's, for such a young guy, he's got some good UFC experience here. And I think going from, Ribovic to Michael Johnson is going to be a step down for him. Just at this point in Michael Johnson's career. At his peak, Michael Johnson was a fucking demon. But we're long since removed to that, man. I mean, we're losing to Jamie Malarkey, and not that long ago, he has a fucking loss to Clay Guida. Guys, be fucking real here. I'm going Daniel Zellhuber. I think he just stays behind the long, straight punches, and I think he can land him on Michael Johnson. Because Michael Johnson's reaction times it's slower now, and his durability at times is a little bit And he is coming off of this absolutely brutal knockout as well. Your chin's not gonna be more durable after something like that. So yeah, I'm gonna lean Zellhuber here. I just think he's gonna be the better striker here. I think he probably is gonna put something on Michael Johnson's chin and hurt him. And I think he can win this fight. Maybe like like ground and pound TKO for Daniel Zellhuber. I think he can catch Michael Johnson with the straight punch on the feet and hurt him, fall him to the mat, and probably finish him there. This is Zellhuber's fight to win for sure. Moving up to the main card, Dan Ige taking on Patriceio Pitbull. I'm going with Dan Ige, bro. I'm going with Dan Ige. I don't think Patriceio Pitbull. I think Patriceio Pitbull is fucking washed, if I'm being honest. You know, 2 losses in Ryzen and Bellator. Beat Jeremy Kennedy, which is okay. Got absolutely bitched by Yair Rodriguez. I just think he's a little bit washed. I think his durability is a little bit compromised. And I think he's got a very similar style to Dan Ige. Both these guys, decent grappling, nothing too crazy. I'd give Patriceio Pitbull a slight edge in the pure jiu-jitsu. I think the striking's about even. Both kind of power punchers, shorter, stockier power punchers. I think Dan Ige's probably got more power than Pitbull. And I also trust his durability a lot more than Pitbull. And he's got, he's fought better guys than Patriceio Pitbull. I know Patriceio Pitbull's got 40 fights. Dan Ige's fought better guys. He absolutely has. Like, Sean Woodson, good win for him, honestly. Lerone Murphy, Diego Lopez, Feely KO'd him. Bryce Mitchell, hard fight. Fighting guys like Korean Zombie, shit like that. Like, he's been in the UFC forever. He's been fighting hard guys. He's the younger guy. I think he's got more durability. I think he's honestly better at finding that power shot on the feet. And I just think this is a tricky matchup for Pitbull because I think Yair honestly was a more approachable matchup if he tried to grapple a little bit more sooner. But he didn't. Also, Ige, look at that reach, bro. That's a giant. You're giving Dan Ige this much of a reach advantage. He's gonna knock Pitbull the fuck out. If I'm being honest, I think Ige wins this fight. I think he can 23% by KO TKO. I think he's gonna champ Patriceio Pitbull. If you're giving fucking Dan Ige 6 inches of reach, you're probably getting knocked out. If I'm being honest, I just trust him more. I trust Dan Ige more. Patriceio Pitbull's been hurt multiple times lately. Got hurt bad by Yair as well. Yair's not a guy who really hurts you with the hands, man. If you're getting hurt by a shot from Yair Rodriguez that's just like a punch, man, Dan Ige is gonna knock you into fucking orbit, I think. I'm going with Dan Ige by TKO. He's too reliable. I trust him. He's consistent. I think Patriceio Pitbull's on the downswing in his career. He's 38 in a lightweight class. Moving up to welterweight, Kevin Holland taking on Daniel Rodriguez. Guys, I mean, what a turn of events. I went from the biggest Kevin Holland hater. I'm still a Kevin Holland hater, but I'm picking him to win. I've picked him to win his last 2 fights. I think he's going to win a third. I think this is, once again, a layup matchup for Daniel Rodriguez. I didn't think Luque was a very big layup matchup, but I thought he would win pretty clearly. I picked him to beat Gunnar Nelson, as I believe he was an underdog for this matchup as well. And just like that, Kevin Holland's going to be on a 3-fight win streak. I think this is an easy fight for Kevin Holland. Daniel Rodriguez, in my opinion, is on the downswing in his career. He just looks slower and slower and slower. Went to war with Ponzinibbio. Really slow start there. Beat Alex Morono. Really slow start there. Lost to Gastelum. Pretty slow start there. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Holland, he's got all the physical intangibles. I think he's much faster. I think his boxing's a little bit cleaner at this point. I think if he starts fast, he can hurt Daniel Rodriguez, especially with this reach advantage. I think he's more durable than in Daniel Rodriguez. I think he can push for 3 rounds harder than in Daniel Rodriguez, who kind of gets tired. I think he can utilize the kicks. I think he can also utilize the submission skills, which he does have. I mean, fuck, he subbed Luque with an anaconda. I'm going with Kevin Holland inside the distance here for sure. I think he can win by submission pretty easily. I honestly think it's his easiest path, but Kevin Holland's probably going to want to strike because Daniel Rodriguez is a boxer and he's kind of got the ego in that way where he's like, yeah, let's fucking, let's go strike. So I'm going to go with Kevin Holland here to win this matchup. I think he wins inside the distance pretty clearly. Moving up to the co-main event, god damn it. Paulo Costa taking on Roman Copalov. Good fight. Now, guys, I got some opinions here on this matchup. Fellas, I truthfully think that Paulo Costa can win this fight. I think if we see the Paulo Costa of old, where he's walking the guy down to that cage side and throwing fucking nasty body hooks and just keeping the pressure on. I think that is the perfect style to beat a Roman Copalov. Because Roman Copalov on the back foot is ass. He is bad when he gets pressured. He loves his space because he loves being able to kick. Because at times, he's got nice punches, but his boxing defense when a guy crowds him is very fucking bad at times. But I just don't know if Paulo Costa is that same guy, man. I want him to be. I want him to be that guy who just gets in there, gets him up against the cage, and starts ripping body hooks. If he does that, he'll beat Copalov. I swear to God. I swear to God he will. But like this fight against Strickland, he looked shit. He looked tentative the whole time. Robert Whittaker, he had a good moment, but I mean, he got outstruck. But Robert Whittaker's, he's still pretty fucking elite. Beat Luke Rockhold at elevation. Not the greatest win ever, but he did get a win. Lost to Marvin Vtori and some weird kerfuffle with the weight and all that, and then lost to Adesanya. I just don't know if he's the same guy, man. If he's the same guy who was walking down Yoel Romero fucking hitting Fortnite emotes on him, I would pick him to win. I might still pick him to win. I might be bold because I'm pretty sure have I picked every favorite on this card? I hate doing that. Have I? I'm pretty sure I have. So we got to pick one underdog, right, guys? We got to pick one. I'm going to pick Paulo Costa. I know it's stupid. But on the chance that we see the old Costa here, maybe he just W keys it, guys. And if he does, I think that could be hard on Copalov. Copalov's kind of a gasser. He's kind of a guy who slows down. He's a guy who doesn't like getting crowded that much. He is very dangerous. He's got good power. He's got good kicks. And he has been improving. But I just think, in this Chris Curtis fight, he was arguably losing that fight up until that head kick at the end. It was a very close competitive fight, you know what I mean? And Chris Curtis is kind of a guy, who's kind of got a similar style to Costa. When Costa was at his best, he was a little bit more aggressive with the pressure than a Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis is a little bit more measured. Paulo Costa kind of just blitzes in there and fucking fuck it, we balls it. But I think that's honestly better. Now, he might run onto something. He could easily run onto something and get KO'd. But what if he doesn't, Cesar Almeida, this fight was dog shit. Copalov did nothing in this fight. I honestly watched this fight back, and you score off damage, he doesn't win this fight. Just being real. Just laid and did nothing. Absolutely no offense from Roman Copalov, basically at all in this matchup. Not a great performance. Lost to Anthony Hernandez. Many such cases. Josh Fremd, Claudio Ribeiro. That image of him getting crowded up against the cage and getting shots landed on him by Claudio Ribeiro, it plays in my head on fucking cooldown when I think about this matchup. I know it's a long time ago, but fuck, dude, I know Costa can do that. Oh, guys, forgive me. Let me believe one last time in the guy. I'm going with Paulo Costa as an underdog. Fuck it. I think he can crowd Copalov up against the cage. And I think he can expose Copalov's bad boxing defense in moments and land good shots. Maybe Paulo Costa is truly washed. We'll fucking see, man. I want to believe in the kid, though. He's 34. He's not a fuck kid. But I want to believe in Paulo Costa. I'm picking him to win. How does he win, though? Close decision. I'm thinking a close decision for Paulo Costa. Suck my balls. And then closing out the card with our main event, Max Holloway taking on DP, Dustin Poirier, in his last fight ever. Guys, I'm going with Max Holloway over Dustin Poirier. It's going to be a close fight. It's going to be a competitive fight. But I think there are some intangibles that we need to break down here. Dustin Poirier's last fight. I don't really like it when a guy's like, yeah, this is my last one ever, because I don't know how in it he's really going to be. And I know it's Dustin Poirier. He's going to show up. He's going to fight hard. He never has not done that. But when we're talking about a guy who's like, man, I could make a run at the title, it's going to be Holloway, not Dustin Poirier. You know what I'm saying? Also, Dustin Poirier's beaten Max Holloway twice. Once when they were very young in Max Holloway's first fight at featherweight, and then for Max Holloway's first fight at lightweight. But what I want to draw more points from is their lightweight fight. Max Holloway in his first lightweight fight against Dustin Poirier, he looked fat. he looked like a fat 45er. He wasn't built up into the weight class. He was still real young. He wasn't a true lightweight. He didn't give himself time to build up into the weight class. If you compared the Max Holloway that showed up for his first lightweight fight against Dustin Poirier and the Max Holloway who showed up against Justin Gaethje at UFC 300, they look completely different. Just like in the face. I mean, it looked like Max Holloway put on the 10 pounds for lightweight against Dustin Poirier. It looked like he put it on his fucking face. Like he had moon face. Like he just looked chubby. But against Gaethje, he looked lean. He looked mean. He looked like a real lightweight. And I'm predicting that's what we're going to see again. My only concern is Max Holloway's chin did get cracked. It got cracked by Ilya. But I think the extra 10 pounds is going to help him. I think at this point in his career, he's going to be better at lightweight. I think Dustin Poirier, even though it's a slight decline, I think he is on the decline a little bit. You know, he's pretty up there in age. He's 36 and a half at lightweight. With some mixed results here. You know, Justin Gaethje head kicked him, got the win over Benoit Saint Denis, lost to Islam in a very close competitive fight. I just think Max Holloway at this point, I think he's going to have the better cardio. I guarantee he has the better volume. And one thing that I noticed when on the rewatch of their second fight, Poirier was trying to wrestle a little bit. And I think that's a mistake if he goes back to that in this matchup. Because I think Max Holloway is actually live for a submission. I know that sounds crazy. But I genuinely do think he is live for a submission. Dustin Poirier has been put in a Darce choke and submitted multiple times in his career. And Max Holloway's Darce choke's actually not too bad. I remember him throwing one up on the Korean Zombie after he hurt him, and it was real nasty. I think if Dustin Poirier forces the grappling too much, that genuinely, I think, is a possibility. But I think more often than not, I think Max Holloway just beats up Dustin Poirier. I think he lands more shots, puts more volume out there, keeps the striking arsenal more diverse. I think this is his fight to win here. It would be nice to see DP go out and a win in his last one, but this is a hard matchup, I think. I think for once, the intangibles are on Max Holloway's side in this fight. The last two fights, Dustin Poirier has kind of had the advantages, you know, being Max Holloway's first fight at featherweight and lightweight. I don't think he's going to have the edge in this one here. I think he's kind of on the downswing. I think he's kind of 1 foot out the door. Could he crack Max Holloway? Yeah, easily. He's got great power still, and he's got good boxing still. But he just doesn't move quite the same. His legs are kind of meh. His knees are kind of bummy. I got to go with Holloway here, dude. This is a really close fight. I'm excited. I think this fight's going to deliver. It'll probably be fight of the night, almost certainly. But I'm going to go with Holloway. I'm just trusting him a little bit more at this point in his career. I think he could go on a run at lightweight. I'm not saying he could win the belt, but he could go on a run. You know what I mean? And Poirier, after this one, he's done. So I'm going to go with Max Holloway. I think he's got more to give, where I don't know if Dustin does right now. So I'm gonna go with Holloway. I've said that 10 times. I'm gonna go with Holloway. I could see him get a TKO here kind of late. I'm gonna go with Holloway TKO in like the later rounds, like 4 and 5. That's kind of what I'm feeling here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Holloway TKO. But yep, that was UFC 318, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry about no face cam, but yeah, I don't think anybody really cares. If you're new, subscribe. I appreciate it a ton. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.